Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Ahiba. Glad you could stop by. So today's cards are very cool. I have always wanted to make a braided card and I got the chance today through experimenting with this easel I have and threads. So I'm wrapping the threads around the opposite ends of the easel. While I'm doing this, I'm applying tension, cut the thread at the end and tied it onto the top of the easel. Now I'm going to do this in all the different colors that I would like to use. So as you can see, I've done it in all the colors and I know I'm going to use a fine tooth comb to comb through and evenly distribute the threads, make sure there are no tangles so that it can be nice and ready for braiding. I'm going to be using two techniques here. So I wanted to do a braid, but I also wanted to do a complete thread kind of background where there's no spacing. So I used a paper clip to hold on to the edges that I didn't want to fray. I did my braid very slowly and very neatly. And then I cut the braid away, making sure there was a paper clip above it to prevent the rest of thread from fraying. So here I have my braid and I have my card base as well as my card front, which is a little smaller than the card base, right? And now I'm just going to be attaching my braid. Very simple. I found that using silicone glue works best for me when working with thread, especially loose threads. It gets through the fibers and actually hardens really well and prevents them from moving, right? My issue though with silicone glue is that for me, it has always been very difficult to squeeze from the tube. It takes a lot of effort from the bottle. It takes a lot of effort. So if anyone has an idea of another type of glue that I could use that would work really well with fabric and not produce too much bulk or mess, then let me know. I know hot glue might be an option, but that may be a bit messy, right? So I've attached my braid and I'm just messing around with it a little, ensuring I like how it curves and all of that, right? I'm gonna attach some more glue to the edge of the braid, right? We definitely want to prevent fraying. So I'm ensuring that this part is glued down quite well, right? So I'm also going to glue down the loose edges, removing my paper clip and ensuring that the loose edges are glued, right? So I'm just using a little pointer and lifting the loose edges, placing glue underneath and adhering them to the card, right? It helps as well to press down on this, ensure the fibers are splayed so that all of the fibers are touching the glue, and that will ensure that your project doesn't move at all. So this is just one of the techniques I use in adding thread to cards. So it would be good if you could check out my other videos, which show you other ways, some more simple, some more complex, but they definitely give you ideas about how to incorporate fibers in your paper projects, right? So check those out. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're interested in learning more about these techniques. So I finished gluing down the braid to the front, and now I'm going to secure it at the back of the card at the other end, right? So this one is pretty simple. I'm just going to pull the paper clip back a little, comb through the fibers to spread them out, and then I'm going to add some glue to the back of the card to ensure that it's stuck down really well. Then I'm going to fold the fibers over, comb through to spread everything out, press down, and in addition, I'm going to add some clear tape over the thread to add an extra layer of security. Some cellophane. And then we cut off the excess thread. Yeah, and that's it. Now your braid is completely attached to your card, and you can do the rest of your decoration. You can attach multiple braids. That would definitely be cute. Multiple braiding to make a pattern. I should try that. So for me, I am going to go simpler, usually because making the braid and doing that takes a bit of time. So I genuinely like to go lighter on the decor, and I like how the thread stands out when there's less on the card. So the thread with just a sentiment is really nice. So I'm using this sentiment from Simon Says Stamp. I'll link in the bio the exact stamp set. I'm adding VersaFine ink to it. My ink pad is a little dry, so it's not a stark black, but I'm pressing down to ensure I get a good image. And I do, but I'm gonna go over it with a pen just to darken up some of the areas. As I told you, my ink pad is a little dry, so yeah. So after doing the greeting, I'm going to adhere the card front onto the card base by using some foam tape that I doubled, right? For the foam tape, I don't put the foam tape back over the thread because that area is already bulky. So we're gonna just put foam tape everywhere else except at the point where the thread is, okay? So removing the backing from my tape and adhering it to the card front. Card base, sorry. I really love the look of this card. It's so elegant, and the sentiment really gives an elegant vibe as well. Really love the simplicity, how clean and simple it is. So we're gonna move on to our next card. As I told you, I had the remainder of the thread, which I wanted to just do a complete area of thread with no spaces in between. I've always wanted to do that as well. If you watch my videos or if you know me from Instagram, I use foam tape a lot with thread and lay each thread individually on the foam tape. But in doing that, there's going to be a little space between. So I've always wanted to try a method of ensuring that there's no space between the thread and it looks like just a continuous gradient. So I'm very excited about this one as well, right? So I have my thread attached to a paper backing with a paper clip. I added glue to the side with the thread, put it on the back of my card front, removed my paper clip, and that is going to hold the thread down. As I said, the silicone glue is very good at holding these loose fibers in place. Once it dries, it's perfect, right? They don't shift. So after adhering that, I'm going to just secure the end of the loose threads with another paper clip and paper backing, a little piece of paper, right? And this is to ensure that when I bring this around to the front of the card, the threads are all together and I can apply tension, right? So I'm bringing it around. As you can see, some of the threads are a bit looser than others, but you can always use your fine tooth comb, go through them to kind of, you know, straighten them out, stretch them out, and make everything more uniformed, right? So I'm applying tension and folding it over on the other side. The front may not look perfect, but don't worry. Just apply tension, fold it over to the other end, and then comb through. So once you place it face down, right, you can use your comb to apply more tension at the back, right? And then I'm going to use some tape and just tape it down first, right? Tape it down first just to ensure that the fibers are generally held together, right? So I can just tape down and not worry about the front too much, because as I'm taping, I'll be applying tension to each area, right? So just apply tension bit by bit to each area while you tape, pull up and place your tape down. And then remove your paper clip and your paper, right? Then apply your silicone glue underneath the tape, underneath the thread. Put a generous amount. Ensure everything is pressed down and then remove the excess thread. I'm just adding some more tape just to make sure that everything is secure and cohesively pressed down so that the glue has time to dry properly. And then just run your comb back through, use your hands and smooth everything out, right? And then we have an almost completed card. So now I'm using another sentiment from the same stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm going to be just adding it to the bottom of the card, right? Applying my Versamark ink, Versafine, sorry, Versafine ink in black. I'm going to press down firmly on the sentiment just to make sure I get a good impression, okay? And I'm still going to go over this one with my pen, not as much, but just to darken up some of the areas that I think need darkening. So for this background, I definitely want to do an entire panel like this, but it would take a lot of time. So I was just experimenting to see what would be the method for attaching it to the card, what would be best. So since I know now, so I decided to put a little finesse on it. You know, I liked how there was more dimension when I cinched one part together. So I decided to do that. So I'm just using thread and I'm tying one area, and I'm going to cover this with some embellishments later. But yeah, just tie it tightly as close as possible to the threads to make sure you have a nice cinched area. All right, so I cut off the ends. I'm going to cut them more short than long. I cut them long, but I'll cut them again. And then just hide the excess by just intertwining it with the threads that are already there. So those are my completed cards. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram at CreativeIbi. And I do hope to see you soon. Share this video with those you think would be interested. I love these cards and I'm glad I could share them with you. So thanks again for stopping by. Take care.